Hey, my creative friends. My name is Shannon from shannonstudio.com and soon to be creativeheartbeats.com. So I am starting a Creative Heartbeats Club. At the end of this month, we'll launch on August 1st. And so I'm talking about reasons why you might want to join, that it's a good reason to join. Hey, boyfriend. Hey, Trisha. So that's what we're talking about for the next few weeks, because our time will be up August 1st. We'll be done with every night videos. We're on 344 tonight. So nothing interesting happened in Sweden because I stayed home all day. But last night we talked about, I can't remember what we talked about. Sorry. But I do know we were going to talk about resistance. And today, and I feel like it's going to drive me crazy. Spit volcano. Yesterday, do the work. Do the work. Small steps. That's what we talked about yesterday. It just was going to drive me crazy, and I need to concentrate. And so, okay, but I started on a little tangent because of something Allison said last night about about fear, I think it was, and stuff. So I said, well, we should talk about resistance tonight. So that's what we're going to do a little bit of tonight. So, hey, Joan. So there is, in the book, Art and Fear, it says, art is a high calling. Fears are coincidental. Sneaky and disruptive, disguising themselves as laziness, resistance, irritation, and distraction. So what he's saying is that resistance is really fear, and that it takes a lot of different names. And I was... you know how when you're on YouTube and you watch a video and another video comes up? So I thought I had turned that thing off, because I think you can turn it off where it doesn't just automatically play. So there was a video that came on. It was like some round table of several artists. And it was interesting because Hugh Jackman was one of the artists or actors. I should say actors. And he was one of the actors, and he said that he started to tell somebody who was a perfectionist, Richard Marx, and Richard Marx just said, whoa, he said, perfectionist is just basically another word for fear. Because it's like he said, I've never done anything perfect ever. So I'm not a perfectionist. And it just uses that as a disguise for fear. Because really, when you think about it, perfectionists will hold something back until it's just right, or not even pursue until it feels like it can happen just right. And I will say I'm not a perfectionist, but the boyfriend always says I am, and I don't think I am. In that vein, I don't think I am. So anyways, fears disguise themselves. But what it does is brings this resistance to the table where we just want to fight. Hey, Megan. Hope isn't Arizona. I hope Arizona's going well for you, actually, Megan. Okay, so Art and Fear also says what separates artists from ex-artists is that those who challenge their fears continue, those who don't quit. So, and I'm going to rephrase that, though. What separates creatives from ex-creatives is that those who challenge their fears continue, those who don't quit. And that's the truth. At some point, we have to push through that resistance, that fear that comes up as resistance. We have to. And if we're going to progress, I totally get the resistance. I resisted doing live videos for 3 years, talked about it, everything, and I was like, oh, I'm not very good. And, and it's just interesting if you just do it. Yeah, I was not any good. Nobody says I'm great now, but I'm sure better than what I was. And so just having to push through that and just tackle fear, knock it down, and run past it. Let's see. In the book, Big Magic, Elizabeth Gilbert, excellent book. She, in Kindle, you can type in words and then it comes up how many times that word is referenced in a book. So I typed in fear and Big Magic came up 79 matches. That means a word is listed 79 times. There's other ways that it's formed as well in there, but it's listed 79. There's a big section about fear. And I think with due cause, because fear is such a huge thing, not in just trying to be creative, but trying to do anything that is so uncomfortable. And which, one of the things she says, fear is a deeply ancient instinct and an evolutionarily okay. Sometimes words just don't come out. I was talking to somebody was talking the other day at dinner, and he was trying to get a word out, and I could say it fine. So, but there's nobody here to actually say the word for me unless the boyfriend yells from upstairs. Okay, it's a vital one, but it ain't especially smart, is what she says. So we don't, and she says we don't need to like it. Let's see, we don't need it like we did historically, but it still shows up. So she's saying fear still shows up. It's evolutionary in us. It's something that we have to have in order to really protect us from the dangerous things. But it doesn't really have a high-minded distinction. So then she says, when I refer to creative living, I am speaking more broadly. I'm talking about living a life that is driven more strongly by curiosity than by fear. And if you want to be creative, that's what happens. It's not like fear never enters into anything. It's not like you've done creative things for years and then all of a sudden the fear gene is gone. The fear DNA is gone. That never happens. The fear is always there. The anxiety is there. The uncertainty is there. It's all still there. It's just that you have this drive that is built up from your past experiences that, she calls it curiosity. The idea, can I do this? This is exciting. What can I do? That builds up so that it's stronger than the fear. And so then we're not as resistant to whatever it is we're going to do. Not that resistance completely goes away, because fear hasn't completely gone away. But we know how to manage it. And this is what she says as well. We all know that when courage dies, creativity dies with it. This is common knowledge. Sometimes we just don't know what to do about it. Hey, Allison, I'm talking about resistance that you brought up your comment and made me think of it. The boyfriend says, my creative fear is glitter. I'm going to ban you, boyfriend. Okay, so Allison, we're talking about resistance. Now I have to go back because I was distracted by his creative fear. She says, we all know that when courage dies, creativity dies with it. This is common knowledge. Sometimes we just don't know what to do about it. And I think that is true. It's like, what do you do with all this emotions going on? All these things, these thoughts going on. And she talks about a few things that, and I'm rewording what I'm going to bring up, but she talks about some of these things, but she talks about tons, fear tons. And so if you need a book on fear, it's a good one. It's just a good book, period. Okay, so first off, stop defending your lack of creativity. Stop defending being afraid. Stop defending all the things. Allison says, cool, I'm really wanting the secret to the ice cream and peaches. That's what I'm eating right now. Oh, that's funny. Okay, the peaches and ice cream I talked about a couple days ago. She puts almond extract in it. It was that simple. She put sugar and almond extract. And for whatever reason, that almond extract is just nice. So put a little bit of that in your peaches and cream. Okay, so stop defending your lack of creativity. Stop saying I'm not creative. We know we're all creative. They've done research and tested all little kids, Like 98% of them are creative. 98% of them do the things, and then it slowly erodes until the time we're 30-ish, I think it was, only 2% of us feel creative. So it's not like we're not creative. We just have gotten out of practice. Allison's, nice to know. Sorry to sidetrack you. That's okay. So you are just out of practice. You have let, oh man. You have let the fear override you. So first off, stop defending. I'm not creative. You are. You're just out of practice. I can hear the boyfriend laughing upstairs. I wonder, it's delayed, so I'm wondering what he's laughing about. The second thing, distinguish that being creative isn't life-threatening fear. Now the fear comes up. We know that. It's part of the process. And it varies for different projects, different things, but it comes up. You have to realize it's not life-threatening. It is not going to kill you. It's not like the fear of the instinct fear from historically that we needed. It is a different fear. It's a fear like, I'm going to look dumb. I don't have any talent. People are going to see I don't have any talent. They're going to see my weaknesses. If I produce something, they're going to see how bad it is. Or they're not going to even care that I did anything at all. So those are all fears generated by what goes on in our mental dialogue, but none of them are going to kill us. So we have to stop thinking that these fears are going to kill us and that we can walk over them. Or another things that she says. She said, accept fear as part of the ride. So she goes through this, Elizabeth Gilbert goes through this little dialogue and says, Dearest Fear, and she writes this little letter to fear. And it basically says, we're all going to go on a road trip together. You, fear, creativity, and me. And we're going to go on this road trip. And then she goes on, and she says, but at the end of the letter, she says, creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. So basically, fear can be in the car. Fear can go along for the ride. I would put fear in the trunk myself, but that's her. She's going to let it sit in the back seat and let it go along. But you have to realize that it's going to be part of the process. But you're the one who makes the decisions. You are in charge. The minute you let fear dictate, it runs your life in that thread that you were going. And you don't have to be, just like with videos for me, it was like that ran, I couldn't do anything video wise. It was like, I'm not good at video. All the excuses you could come up with. And so that always dictated anything to do with videos. So that thread of videos, of live videos, just that, fear ran that show until I said, no more fear. The date's going to happen. And I gave myself a deadline and things changed, moving to Sweden, saying, okay, being here for 2 months on August 1st, I'm going to do that. So there's some certain things that happened that, push me. You'll have to find what it is that helps you to really make it over that last little hurdle of fear. And one other thing, fear is boring, she says. Boring. And you think about it. You think about the people who are fearful that you know. I'm trying to think if I know anybody. Think about people that you think are fearful. And they are I think they're consistently boring. It's like the same old. Nothing new, nothing curious, because if you had curiosity, then you might have to go do something. So I kind of agree with that. Fear is boring. So tonight, resistance is basically fear showing its face. And so we have to decide, you got to decide if you're going to let it in the car, which she's saying, Elizabeth Gilbert saying, it is in the car, but who's going to decide? Who's going to make the decisions? Who's going to be behind the driver's wheel? You have to decide that. And the minute you start to overcome your fears and your resistance, then life starts to open up in different. Now that I, just going back to the video thing, now that I can do videos more comfortably inside, I feel better about it, then that opens up opportunities for me to do live videos that were not open up to me before. So it's going to open up some avenues for you. And Creative Heartbeats Club, we're going to go, and like I said yesterday, we're going to make small steps. We're doing things that will be in smaller chunks, very doable. And so I'm going to try to help you get past the fear, because we're going to it's not going to be pressure. You're not doing this for professional work. You're doing this for your fun and your life. Allison says, I like the car analogy. Is Elizabeth Gilbert the Eat, Pray, Love author? Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And I think she talks a little bit about it in the book as well, about that process of being successful. And then everybody wonders what's going to happen next. And then that can feed into the whole fear thing for her. So yes, and it's a great book. I think if you only read one book on creativity, I think that's a good one to read. Well, there's lots of books I read that have great information in them, but they're more like academic sometimes. They're more a little more dry, whereas she is a storyteller, I feel like, and so she takes you on a journey that's fun to read. I'm just interested in creativity, so I'll read the dry stuff. But she is, Allison says the title again, please. It's Big Magic, Elizabeth Gilbert. So she takes, it's just fun to read. And she's very honest and open about things. So, yes. So we talked about resistance tonight. I'm going to help you in Creative Heartbeats Club to try to move past that fear. So tomorrow I will be back. And in the meantime, remember you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it. And bye for now.